Hey guys, so if you didn't know, I sell used clothing on the apps Depop and Poshmark, and every month I make a video about what I sold and how much money I made. So today we're going to talk about what I sold in June 2021. So this month actually started off pretty strong for me, and then it kind of fizzled out towards the end, which I feel like is kind of expected because we're kind of in the middle of the season right now. But this month I sold 23 items. 11 of those were sold on Poshmark and 12 of those were sold on Depop. So I sold one extra item on Depop, but the split was pretty even. I do have more items listed on Poshmark, so keep that in mind. It kind of just goes to show that even with less items on Depop, I still tend to sell a bigger percentage of those items, if that makes sense. And just keep in mind that I do receive a lot of my items for free, so unless otherwise stated, just assume that there was no base cost for the items I'm selling. If I did buy it at a thrift store, I'll definitely mention it because that always definitely affects how much money I made. But anyways, let's get into the first item. So the very first item that I sold this month was this community gray sleeveless cardigan. So this item was originally from Aritzia, so I kind of had like high hopes for it. It is an older style, but I had a feeling it would sell. So when somebody sent me an offer for $15, I accepted it. And at the end of the day, after all of Poshmark's fees and everything, I ended up making $10.53. So if you guys don't know, my goal profit margin is always $10 at least. So definitely hit that, and I was happy with that. So next on Poshmark, I sold this Ralph Lauren blue striped button down. I'd actually been saving this shirt because I kind of wanted to do a thrift flip with it, and I just never got around to it. So when somebody sent me an offer, I figured I might as well take the money, and I could always find a different shirt if I really wanted to do that thrift flip. So I also ended up selling that item for $15 and ended up making $10.53. So next on Poshmark, I sold this Volcom colorful knit hat. So definitely out of season, so that one was a bit of surprise to see that it sold, but I was really happy about that. And I actually ended up selling that for $18. So at the end of the day, I made $13.53, so super happy with that. So next, our first Depop sale of the month actually, I ended up selling this red sweater vest. So I think this is the 5th sweater vest I have ever sold, and the 3rd sweater vest just in this past like 30 days. So it's good to know that sweater vests are still popular, but I ended up selling that for $19.99 plus $10 shipping. And at the end of the day, I actually only made $8.62. So didn't quite reach my target, but it was still pretty close, so I was still happy with that. So next on Depop, I sold this Liz Claiborne green button up. I was really happy when this sold because I don't know, I thought this top had a lot of potential, and like it was really cool and unique, yet still like pretty on trend actually. So I ended up selling that one for $15 plus $10 shipping. I think the person asked me for a discount, and that's what we ended up working out. So at the end of the day, I made $9.66. So just below my target mark, but it's basically $10, so I was happy with that. Next on Poshmark, I sold these Naturalizer Nebula heels. When I was doing my research, these seemed to be quite expensive originally, so I kind of had a feeling they would sell eventually. So somebody sent me an offer for $15. I accepted it because there was really no other interest on them, and at the end of the day, I made $10.53. So next on Poshmark, I actually sold a bundle, and it was of this Free People striped button-down dress and this color block corduroy jacket. Now the Free People dress I have been selling for so long, so was glad to finally get rid of it. You would think Free People, because it's so expensive, would sell quickly, but I find if it's an older style, it's really hard to sell. So finally got rid of that one. So I ended up selling that bundle for $45 for both of the items. And at the end of the day, I actually made $26.13. Now this was actually a little bit lower because I was actually selling the dress for one of my friends, so we ended up splitting the profits. So that's why the overall profit was a little bit lower than normal. But to make $26 for 2 items, I was totally happy with that. So next on Depop, I sold this Almost Famous striped t-shirt dress. And it's so funny, I swear, this always happens where I'll be like looking through Depop, or maybe somebody will ask me to do like a try on photo or something, and I'll be like, wow, this actually looks really good on me. I think I'm gonna keep it. And then it sells. I swear that happens so often because I was actually kind of considering keeping this dress, but I am glad it sold. It ended up selling for $25 plus $10 shipping actually. So at the end of the day, I made $18.37. So that was a great profit margin for just one item, and I was super happy about that. So next on Depop, I sold these vintage blue bike shorts. another one of those items that I was really excited to sell and like had a feeling it was gonna sell. I did have a couple like inquiries on it, but I ended up selling them for $30 plus $10 shipping. And at the end of the day, I made $22.71. So once again, that's a really good profit margin for just one item. And that's kind of more what I'm trying to strive for rather than just like a $10 mark. And it was interesting to see that bike shorts are kind of still in style. So next on Depop, I sold these blue asphalt corduroy cargo pants. Now these were super cool. These actually came from my personal wardrobe. I thrifted them a while ago and I really loved them, but every time I wore them, they were just too small for me and just too uncomfortable. So I would never wear them because like I would never reach for them because I knew they're not the most comfortable for me. So I decided to put them on Depop. I kind of knew they would sell pretty quickly because they are pretty cool, pretty unique, and pretty on trend, I would say. So they did end up selling fairly quickly. But I actually sold them to somebody in the US, and I ended up selling them for $35 plus $20 shipping. And because I did originally purchase these from the thrift store, I actually got a really good deal on them. I think they were only like $4 when I bought them at the thrift store, which is like insane for pants. So after all of that, I ended up making $21.82. So super happy with that, especially for an item that I thrifted. So next on Poshmark, I sold this Brandy Melville striped zelly top. You may remember it from one of my thrift trips a while ago. So I was really happy to finally sell this one because I did have it listed for like a few months. It took a little longer to sell than I thought it would, but it kind of makes sense because it is summer now. So I ended up selling that one for $23. It did originally cost me $10.72 at the thrift store. So at the end of the day, I only made $7.08. So I didn't hit my target mark and I didn't even double the amount I paid for it. But because it was listed for so long, I was getting a little bit nervous. So I thought that was a good offer and I accepted it. So next on Poshmark, I sold this TNA tank jumpsuit. I wasn't sure how this one was going to do because it was kind of an older style, but it did actually have quite a bit of interest on it and I ended up selling it for $20. So at the end of the day, I made $15.48, which I was really happy about. So next on Depop, I sold this Brandy Melville black Caroline top, which you also may remember from that same thrift trip as the other Brandy top. So I was happy to see that one finally sell so closely to when I sold the other Brandy one. I ended up selling that one for $24 plus $9.99 shipping, and this one actually cost me $7.89 at the thrift store. So at the end of the day, I made $9.60. So once again, really close to hitting that $10 mark, but I was still happy with that. And would I pick up those two tops again if I saw them at the thrift store? Probably not, unless they were priced closer to $5. I think because they were priced a little higher, it was pretty hard to make a good profit off of them. So unless I see any Brandy for cheaper, I probably won't be picking it up again. So next, I sold something actually through Instagram. So ever since I've linked my Instagram in my Depop bio, I've actually been getting sales through Instagram, which has been really nice. But I actually ended up selling this Roots handmade soft bucket hat that I made quite a while ago, actually. I think I made it almost a year ago. So I was happy to see that it actually sold and someone was interested in it. They actually originally messaged me on Depop and they were asking if they could do e-transfer because like they didn't have PayPal. And I was like, oh no, sorry, like I don't do e-transfer. Because if you guys don't know, Depop monitors all of their DMs, and if they see that you accept e-transfer, you're at risk of them banning your account and like deleting it basically. So that's why I never do e-transfer on Depop. But I noticed that this person actually had their Instagram linked in their bio. So I went ahead, clicked on the link, and actually messaged them through Instagram and was like, hey, if you're still interested in the hat, like you can e-transfer me through Instagram. So that person was really sweet, and I always like to give discounts when people pay through Instagram because I don't have to pay the Depop fee, so I might as well give them a discount. So I ended up selling that to them for $30 with free shipping, and at the end of the day, I made $18.19. So that's a good profit margin, especially because this is one of my handmade items. It's kind of nicer to have a higher profit margin because it does take a lot of time to make these things, so I was happy with that. So next on Depop, I sold a bundle. It was of my Ash Ketchum Pokemon costume and my Gap cropped wide leg white jeans. So the Ash costume I actually made so long ago, probably like 6 or 7 years ago at this point, and it had just been sitting in my closet for years, and I was like, you know what, I'm never gonna wear this again. I might as well throw it up on Depop. And it had been listed for like quite a while, so it was really nice to finally sell it and the person was really sweet. They were like, oh, I love this, it's like so creative. So I ended up selling that along with the Gap jeans. The Gap jeans had quite a lot of attention on them as well, so I kind of had a feeling they would sell eventually. So I actually sold both of those items for $70, including shipping. And so at the end of the day, I made $43.77. So that was a great profit margin. That was about $20 per item, so that was really good. I was really happy with that. So next on Poshmark, I sold a bundle of 3, which included this Guns N' Roses graphic tee, this Vans Grim Reaper long sleeve, and this ISPO blue windbreaker. So all of these items actually came from one of my mystery thrift hauls. Actually, a couple of my mystery thrift hauls. And if you remember, I actually kept the Vans long sleeve for quite a while, and I wore it like many times, but I finally decided to let it go. So I ended up selling that bundle for $45, and at the end of the day, I made $34.83, which roughly comes out to $10 per item. So I was happy with that. And then finally, lastly on Depop, I also sold a bundle of 3. It was this Champion Gray baseball tee, this Vans black t-shirt, and this Obey pink t-shirt. So I actually sold those for $74.97, including shipping. And then after shipping costs and Depop fees, I ended up making $49.82. So that comes out to about $16 per item. So once again, that was very good profit margins, especially for t-shirts. I find it harder to make a good profit on t-shirts, so I was super happy with that. That was kind of a nice little surprise at the end of the month, especially because I feel like sales definitely really slowed down by the end of the month. So I was really happy to finally see that one just come through right at the end. So guys, that is everything I sold. So now, as per usual, I'm gonna go ahead and calculate everything and see how much money I made this month. Okay, so this month I actually ended up making $331.20. So not nearly as much as last month, but that's kind of what I was expecting, but still some really good sales. And I also like to calculate like the average per item. So divided by the 23 different items, I actually made about $14.40 each. So I think that number was a little bit higher this month, which is also always my goal, to raise that number. I'd rather sell less items but make more money, if that makes sense. And yeah, like I said before, it's probably because, you know, summer's in full swing now. Everybody kind of already prepared for summer last month, so that's why I feel like it's like slowed down a little bit. And also I kind of feel like I have been slacking a little bit with reposting my listings in like the evening. I feel like that's kind of the most important time to repost, and it's usually like right when I have to go to work, so I never get around to it. So I'm gonna try harder to get that done because I think it really does make a difference. And of course, getting more inventory always makes a difference. So I actually just bought some more bins, so I probably should try to get some more inventory into the store. But as always, I hope this can be a guide for you guys to see, you know, what kind of things are selling right now and how much you can sell them for. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.